Good evening and welcome to what I hope is a sumptuous appetiser before Scotland's big game this evening against Greece. That's not for another few hours though, so relax, sit back and enjoy watching some of Scotland's young stars against Gibraltar in this UEFA Under-21 Championship qualifying match. It's the third game of Scotland's group, having lost to Czechia and Portugal in the opening round of fixtures. Tonight's opposition, Gibraltar, offers perhaps an easier route to 3 points, but as all you Scotland fans know, it's rarely as simple as that. It's an 11 with Scotland players you might recognise and a couple you might not. We'll go through the teams shortly. And Scotland walk out onto a sun-soaked Dens Park pitch here in Dundee, wearing their navy home kit Gibraltar in the red. And I'm delighted to be joined by former Scotland Under-21 midfielder Scott Allen for this. Scott, what are you expecting from this one?
I'm expecting Scotland to obviously have a lot of the ball, create chances. They would be clear favourites obviously to win this game, obviously coming up against a nation the size of Gibraltar, who will look to obviously frustrate them at times. You'd expect them to drop into that low block and look for Scotland to go and hurt them, but there's enough quality on that pitch. Obviously off the back of 2 defeats, Scotland really need a win tonight. Pitch looks absolutely fantastic. It's a really nice night here in Dundee, so really excited to see the talent on show.
And first up we'll have the Gibraltar national anthem. The Gibraltar anthem there, applauded by a lot of parents and travelling fans in the home end. The Flower of Scotland next. And there you go, Flower of Scotland there, applauded by the home fans as well here at Dens Park. Some of them enjoying the last of the evening sunshine. And like I say, it was a Scotland 11 that has a couple of names you'll probably know, a couple of names you might not as well, so we'll go through that just shortly. As the players get ready. Well, here is the starting lineup. So in goals for Scotland is Rory Adams. It's a back four of Colby Donovan, Jeremiah Chalukwa Mullen, Luke Graham and Matthew Anderson. In the midfield three we have Kyle Ure, captain David Watson and Christy Montgomery. And up top on the wings we've got Deary Mabudi and Emilio Lawrence with James Wilson leading the line. The subs there: Liam McFarlane, Rory Maddy, Ben McPherson, Macaulay Tate, Ryan One, Rudy Molotnikov, Samuel Cleel-Harding, Finlay Curtis and Miller Thompson, and of course the head coach Scott Gemmell. Fair play if you know any of the Gibraltar Under-21s. You've really done your homework. It's a 4-4-2, we think. Pretty straightforward. Harry Victor in goals with Jay Coombs, Kevin Gonzalez, Tyler Carrington and Javen Peacock in front of him. Jesse Gomez and Leon Mason are on the wings with Amos, Federico and Han Stevens in the middle. Up top, it's Jaden Bartolo and James Caetano. Of that 11, Carrington, Gomez and Bartolo already have senior caps. 16-year-old Lucas Scanlon, who's on the bench, he's already got a cap as well. So a bit of international experience already in that Gibraltar 11, but decent amount of experience in the Scotland 11 as well, as the two teams swap sides. Of course, the referee for this evening, Johan Hendrik Ellefsen from the Faroe Islands. It's a Faroes officiating team as James Wilson gets us, or prepares to get us underway. Scott, what did you make of that starting 11 for Scotland?
Yeah, there's a lot of quality in the team. Chris Montgomery was one in midfield that impressed me last time. Kyle Ure I've seen a few times. I think he's played every game for Ayr United this year, so good experience. Obviously James Wilson had such a good season last year in his debut season in the Premiership, and I'm quite looking forward to seeing Emilio Lawrence of Man City. Heard a lot of good things about him, so there's enough quality in this game to go and give us goals and chances. It'll just be how patient they can be and not get frustrated when you see Gibraltar obviously drop into that shape and try and frustrate them.
That's exactly it. Well, Christy Montgomery is the number 16. He's one of those players that you might not have seen too much of. He's at Blackburn Rovers. He's made a couple of appearances there. And he is on the left-hand side of that midfield three is Adams and Graham. Have to act quickly to that ball over the top. Had to make sure the communication was on point, and it was that time. Adams getting the nod ahead of Liam McFarlane, who started the game against Czechia but had to come off with a facial injury.
How could we forget David Watson as well? Such a good start to his season domestically with Kilmarnock. He looks to be the real driving force in this team.
And Scott, there's often a lot of debate about when players should head down south. David Watson is contract up at the end of the season for Kilmarnock, and their fans won't thank me for pointing that out. Do you think come January, come the end of the season, he might be moving on?
I think it depends on what sort of club. I think that's the most important thing when you are looking obviously to move down south. Can you get the right club with the right environment for you then to go and flourish? There's so many players down there. If you do pick the wrong club and circumstances change, it can be quite hard to then get in, and we've seen it many a time where kids come back up the road and have to get their minutes again. But listen, I think he started his Kilmarnock career's been fantastic. Obviously getting on the score sheet a lot more regularly this season as well. After his breakthrough season 2 seasons ago, he got Young Player of the Year. He was fantastic. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But Kilmarnock obviously have been off to a flyer this season.
Yeah, Watson easily the most experienced of the Scotland starting 11. 113 appearances for Kilmarnock's top team. Like you say, Scott, they've made a fantastic start to the league season, helped by Watson's 3 goals. He's not necessarily a great scorer, but he is a scorer of great goals, David Watson. He's charging into the box now, as are his Scotland teammates. Donovan with the low ball and could come all the way across to Emilio Lawrence, and Scotland make the breakthrough after only 2 minutes. And it's from one side to the other. Colby Donovan with the low ball across to the back post, and Emilio Lawrence is there, the Man City winger, to sweep home. And only his 3rd cap at under-21 level. He's got his first goal, and Scotland get their first goal of the evening.
Yeah, it's a great way to start the game, getting that early goal, and it was a fantastically worked goal. I think it was Luke Graham plays the reverse pass into Kyle Ure. Fantastic driven pass out wide to Colby Donovan. I think he was on overlap, was it, from Mabudi? And then he rolls it across that 6-yard box, and there was Emilio Lawrence to tap home. A great start for the young Scots.
And Scott, I'll give you a bit of credit here, because before the game you were talking about those long diagonal passes to Colby Donovan. Obviously he's racing onto a pass there. Do you think that's something that Scotland are going to try and employ a couple more times tonight?
Yeah, I would expect so. Obviously we've seen he's got that athleticism to get up and down the pitch. Kyle Ure as well, he just out his feet, knows what pass, has a good picture, and they obviously have that connection coming through obviously the Celtic Academy together. Fantastic goal in terms of a Scotland point of view.
The ball coming back in, that should be easy enough for Rory Adams to claim. Obviously Colby Donovan benefiting from injuries to Alistair Johnson and Anthony Ralston, who's now back fit and back in the Scotland squad. But how impressed have you been with the the start that Colby Donovan's made to life in Celtic's first team?
I think all kids come through the academy. Everything you've done, if you've been in there from the age of 9, 10, is to prepare you for that opportunity. And I think since he's come in, he's been excellent. Obviously, the Europa League game, his debut at Celtic Park in that, it was a struggle in terms of the team. But I thought for me, he didn't hide. He had great attitude. And unfortunately, change of shape. He had to come off at half time. But that away performance against Red Star Belgrade was fantastic.
And do you buy into the notion that I saw? I think it was a couple of weeks ago, it was an old quote, I can't remember quite who from, but you're not a real first team player until you played 50 times. Is that something that you kind of think might be true?
Yes. Yeah, I think even if it isn't true, I think as a young player, obviously hoping to make a way in the game, you get that opportunity to get that regularly, and that's maybe where the quote comes from. And then you really feel that you're established in that change room, and especially on the pitch.
Yeah, a couple of players in the Scotland team getting up to around that number. James Wilson, 42 appearances for Hearts already. Ryan Oney has 20 appearances for Sheffield United. Dure Mabude, 28 appearances for Westerlo over in Belgium. He's one of the more experienced members of the Scotland squad as well. 15 caps tonight. His 16th is James Wilson. Races on to that header. Takes a touch away from the defender. Back to David Watson. Just lays it back off to Wilson. Mabude in a more central area. Montgomery's there, but it could come to Kyle Ure. Tyler Carrington almost getting a foot on the ball. Montgomery just about keeping it there. And he just lays it back to Luke Graham, who has made a really good start to the season with Dundee. Cemented himself in that starting 11, even if the start to the season hasn't been the best for Dundee. And the ball just goes out for a goal kick. We were talking about positions that can be easy to break into an 11, Scott, for a youngster. How difficult is it to break into an 11 as a centre half at that young an age?
It's an interesting point. I think mostly now it's young fullbacks we see. Maybe the safest position for managers to obviously bleed the young talent into the squad. I think for me, you can see he's got that quality in the ball, a really good presence about him. And it's all about having your manager's trust and having a pathway where if one of the regular starters does pick up an injury, that you have that trust from your manager. And he's been shown that. He's obviously had loan deals where it's went really well for him. And he's continued that form this year, albeit Dundee haven't had a particularly great season so far themselves.
Good ball in there from Matthew Anderson, trying to find James Wilson. It'll come all the way through for a corner. He's not necessarily the biggest physical presence, James Wilson, but he's not bad in the air, and he was a real threat there. It's a decent ball in from Matthew Anderson too. He's already got 5 assists to his name for KV Kortrijk in the 2nd division in Belgium. That's where he's playing his trade after leaving Celtic. Corner whip to the front post. Wilson going for it again. It's a Gibraltar head that gets it clear, but it just comes back to Ure. He knocks it all the way back to Montgomery, to Mabude again. Thought about trying to clip that up to the back post, but instead plays the 1-2. This is nice from Scotland, but it's well blocked, and Gibraltar could try and counter now. They lose the ball though, and there's no free kick. Instead, Scotland will try and launch another attack. Donovan with the ball, and again Carrington scoops it up into the air. Just for a second I thought that might loop over the goalkeeper's head and into the back of the net, but it will be a corner. And Scotland asserting the early pressure, Scott, that we thought they would. Yeah, and just when they did turn over the ball there at the edge of the box, see that reaction from David Watson, what you'd expect obviously from one of the most experienced player in the squad. He reacts, get the ball back, and Scotland look to go on the attack again as they have this corner. It's Kyle Ure to deliver again. Again it comes to the front post, it bounces off a knee and it's eventually hacked away. Not the best delivery from Ure, but it will be another set piece opportunity for Scotland. Matthew Anderson coming across to take. Christy Montgomery makes the run, but Luke Graham still offering. And that's who it comes to, and every outfield player in the Gibraltar half there. I think it is going to be mostly one-way traffic tonight. That is what we expected. But how much of a confidence boost can this be for Scotland? It's Mabude, cuts it low, could come to Montgomery. It's only cleared as far as Ure, who fancied a speculative effort but a decent chance there from Scotland. It just didn't quite sit up, and Jay Coombs was able to get it away for Gibraltar.
Really well worked down that right hand side again between Kobe Donovan and Mabudi. It's a great run from into out, puts that ball across. There was no takers, and obviously that ball comes to the edge of what Kelly, your eyes light up when you see that one from 30 yards, and unfortunately just off target.
8 minutes gone, 9 minutes gone now. Scotland 1, Gibraltar 0. Emilio Lawrence with the early goal that will settle any nerves, if there were any nerves. Well won there by Gibraltar. Jeremiah Chalukwa-Mullen heads away again, and it will be picked up by Stevens in the middle, former Leicester City youngster. Tries to get away from Mabudi, who got a foot in there, but Gibraltar almost able to work it across to the right hand side. Matthew Anderson getting ahead to it. Mentioned him briefly there, Matthew Anderson, playing his trade now in the second division in Belgium. Free transfer from Celtic, although he'll have to do a bit more defending. It will be a Gibraltar free kick right on the edge of the box, and this is a dangerous opportunity for the visitors here, Scott.
Yeah, as I think in terms of from Scotland's point of view, I think they've had a great start to the game in terms of getting that foothold, getting the goal. You talk about nerves, I don't think it's more nerve, it's more the momentum, how a game goes. It can get frustrating, and then you start getting desperate, doing things maybe you wouldn't to get the goal. But they've been really controlled in this game so far. But these moments are just as important. Set pieces can swing things. We see how often in modern football a set piece can win or lose you a game. So they need to be on their toes here, alive, second balls.
Well, Gibraltar had scored in their first 2 matches of qualifying. That's something Scotland had failed to do until the second minute of this match. The cross will come in now. It smacks into James Wilson. No shouts for handball. The wall doing his job there. And Scotland will just be a bit relieved, and they could have a chance here if Emilio Lawrence can get to the ball. Mabudi tries to play it to James Wilson. The pass just not good enough, and it's cleared away there. That was a decent chance for Scotland on the counter-attack. Maybe Mabudi, if he'd looked to his right, there could have been another opportunity.
Yeah, I think it just comes to him that quick. He obviously sees the run, he just looks to play, I think it's Wilson through. Again, in terms of defending the set piece, it was the reaction after it, out closing the ball down, and that's where the chance comes from.
Yeah, like I say, Gibraltar had already scored. Kyle Clinton scoring from the spot against Czechia in a 2-1 loss. They lost 3-0 to Bulgaria in their opener. Scotland lost both games 2-0. That's a lovely touch from Lawrence, and he plays Montgomery in. Crosses to the back post. Watson coming in, it's blocked. And that is exactly the type of goal you've come to expect from David Watson, exactly the type of run you've come to expect from him, I should say, because it didn't quite end up in a goal this time. He's always arriving late into the box. He was perfectly picked out by Montgomery. This time it was blocked, and it just results in a corner. Mabudi squeezing it through. It's blocked again. Gibraltar on the ropes a little. And Scotland look to double their advantage, and they'll just want to keep upping the pressure. Donovan with the ball, and again it comes to Lawrence at the back post. Wilson still in the box. Lawrence going to the byline, cutting it back. It's cleared away. Feels like a matter of time until Scotland get this second goal. Matthew Anderson thinks about the cross. Instead he has to go back. Scotland just working it, and again recycling the ball. It's Colby Donovan on the right hand side.
Game with really good intensity at this moment in time, Scotland. See the runs from in down that channel from your number 8s, causing all sorts of problems for Gibraltar. There you go again, David Watson.
No, I thought he'd kept that in. The assistant on the far side didn't agree with me.
Yep, that run that whether it's David Watson or Montgomery, causing all sorts of problems.
Yeah, that's it. It seems to be Kyle Ure who is sitting in that midfield three with Watson and Montgomery pouring forward either side of James Wilson, but inside Mabudi and Lawrence. And Gibraltar at the moment, that back four just unable to handle the Scotland pressure.
Kyle Ure in there, really impressed me so far, really crisp with his passing, whether it's 5 or 10 yards, or if he wants to hit the big switches, really clean in terms of his technique.
Yeah, there's plenty of midfield options for Scotland. Macaulay Tate was the other one on the bench, the Hearts youngster on loan at Livingston. He did really well there last season, immediately getting into their first team when he arrived on loan in January and staying there when he arrived back on loan again this summer. David Martindale clearly very impressed with him. Montgomery just knocking it back to Luke Graham. Gibraltar trying to get back into shape. And you can see Colby Donovan this time has made that run forward, but he's made it too soon. He's offside.
Yeah, we can see in Scotland obviously work the ball from one side to the other. That runs on all the time between the left back and the left centre back. Just about Scotland being patient with it.
And Gibraltar quite happy to just take their time from this free kick. And when you're in that defensive set for as long as they have been, it can be so energy and so morale sapping. As Victor just launches it forward. Graham wins the free kick. You can see the intent there from Scotland. They wanted to play that quickly. Chalukwa Mullen, who is in a second season at Dunfermline Athletic. Mabude away from one, knocks it back for Donovan, crosses in. Comes back to Donovan. Mabude still on side. David Watson's made himself an option. He crosses low to that front post. James Wilson trying to make himself a target man. He's just being crowded out a little at the moment. Comes back to Kyle Ure. Scotland playing it around very quickly. Watson hangs one up. Luke Graham with the header. Could drop. It's off the top of the bar and behind. There's a couple bodies underneath that one looking to try and claim it, but it hits the woodwork in the end. Another decent opportunity for Scotland, and 15 minutes gone, they're 1-0 up, but they look very, very much like adding to that scoreline.
Yeah, they really do. As I said before, Gibraltar just can't live with that intensity. The ball goes out for a corner kick. Scotland are already away before Gibraltar can even switch on, and it's just giving them lots of opportunities to put balls in the box. Unfortunately, that one comes off the bar. You can certainly see Scotland adding more to their tally this evening.
There's James Wilson herring in behind Carrington. He goes down under pressure. He's holding his back. No free kick given there. Carrington trying to come away. It will just be a Scotland throw. Wilson still down, feeling the effects of that challenge. It's been a strange season for James Wilson in the League Cup campaign that Hearts had to play. He scored 2 goals and he was in the team doing well. Since the league season started, though, it's been a bit harder for him. He was involved in the first 3 games, but he's not had any action since. Obviously, Scott Hart's absolutely flying at the moment. Is he a victim of Hart's success that Derek McInnes just isn't going to change his team at the moment?
Yeah, I think so. I think obviously Braga coming in and obviously performing so well for Hearts alongside Lon Shankland, who looks back to his best. It obviously makes that opportunity obviously from a starting spot to come in a lot harder. Obviously Aguiu, who's come in for £2 million by all accounts, so it becomes very difficult then to get these starts. Listen, last year I was really impressed with him. Now it's just about being patient, and then when he does get that chance, can he come on the pitch, can he get goals, and try not to become really frustrated by the lack of game time, because he has proven at Premiership level it has some real quality.
Of course, Wilson turned down moves to England, opting for a path to the first team at Hearts, and it certainly paid off last season. It really is an interesting debate as to what players should do, and of course with Brexit we've seen a lot of English clubs looking more frequently at the Scottish market. As Wilson tries to knock it back for Anderson. It's Gibraltar coming away here. Luke Graham has to do some defending there, and it's a nice touch and a decent pass to find Emilio Lawrence, who will win the throw. Rory Adams, who was on loan at Kelty Hearts last season with you, Scott, and he's at East Fife this season. How important is it for those young keepers to get game time a little bit lower down the leagues?
It's as important as all the other outfield players for me, especially. Obviously it's been well documented about the lack of game time and maybe pathways for some of the younger talented players coming through. It's no different whether it's the goalkeeper, right back, the centre mid. For me, Rudy obviously came to Kelty with us last year, had a successful loan, obviously getting minutes, experience. Obviously back out now on loan at Dick Campbell, so maybe a bit different from myself. But again, as long as he's learning, getting the first team minutes, which is at this age, it's so important.
Liam McFarlane, who's on the bench, he's back on loan at Alloa. Almost made his Hearts debut at Livingston just a few weeks ago. And Zander Clark was down. It looked like he was stripped and ready to come on. But Zander Clark made a heroic recovery. And that was when Craig Gordon and Ryan Fulton were hurt. McFarlane looked to be the next in line.
Good pass.
Good pass from Graham. Montgomery goes down on the edge of the box. It's a good tackle though. And again, Gibraltar coming away. Kyle Ure gets a foot in though. Important foot, and it's Colby Donovan who comes away with the ball. Mabude making a short option, but Donovan keeps going down the line and wins the corner. Had plenty of corners over on that right hand side so far, and Donovan again racing across to take it quickly and take it short. Mabude, Watson making an option. Donovan still there, but it goes back to Mabude in the box. He somehow holds on to the ball. And it looks like, has he won another corner? No, it's a goal kick. Some incredible footwork there from Jerry Mabude, but Scotland just not able to find that killer ball that they found in the second minute to get that first goal.
Oh, unlucky from Mabude. Obviously Wriggles free in the box, at 3 players round about him, manages to get his shot away. Obviously the block comes back off him, but really positive again. You see the shot corner Scotland are doing every time. Gibraltar still haven't switched on to them.
They've got Luke Graham and Jeremiah Chalukwa Mullen for aerial threats if they do decide to go skyward. Ryan One on the bench as well. Strong challenge there from Peacock, but play goes on. Ure to Montgomery. Gibraltar just steal the ball and roll it all the way back to the keeper, who launches it long again. Mullen did well there, the sun in his eyes, but the ball comes back. It comes all the way through to Rory Adams, who's on a night like tonight, I'm sure, just desperate to get a touch. Graham to Ure, that's a lovely ball to Emilio Lawrence. It's a lovely touch from the Man City youngster as well. He fires the cross in, James Wilson just couldn't get there. Mabude will keep the ball alive on the far side. Watson's an option, so's Donovan. And it is David Watson twisting and turning and losing the ball, but it will remain with Scotland for the time being.
Fantastic pass again there from Kyle Ure. I think it's 2 touches, receiving, passing in one motion. Sign of real quality that. Obviously puts Emilio Lawrence away as Mabude comes into the box.
That's brilliant from Mabude. What a goal that is from Dere Mabude on his 16th under-21 Scotland cap. He finds the back of the net in some style. You might remember the screamer he scored against Spain, and now he's got an unbelievable goal against Gibraltar as well. That was absolutely exquisite from Dere Mabude.
Incredible goal from Mabude. Does a step over, gets away from his opponent and absolutely wraps that from a tight angle. Can't quite see if it's in the near post or far away, but from where we've seen it, it looked fantastic. But just that wee drop of the shoulder, I think we'll see it here. Just that change of movement. Near post, that's a fantastic finish. Fantastic finish. And no more than Scotland have deserved. They've absolutely bossed this game so far.
Fair play. He was pretty calm and collected with the celebration. I'd have been whipping the shirt off if I scored a goal like that, I think.
Won't get carried away.
So Scotland finally do have their second goal. I say finally, we're only in the 22nd minute. It felt like a long, long time coming after Emilio Lawrence's first. So both Scotland goals coming from either flank, and both pretty impressive in the way they came about as well. As David Watson picks up the ball. This could be a chance for a quick fire third, but Harry Victor just falls on the ball and denies James Wilson, who I'm certain will be desperate for a goal tonight. Like we say, desperate to get back into the thoughts of Derek McInnes, possibly back to the thoughts of Steve Clarke as well, of course. James Wilson,
he seems to be attracting the 2 centre backs, and his teammates who are playing outside of him seem to be getting the opportunities when the ball's coming into the box. I'm sure a chance will fall to him in this game.
There's a foul just in front of us there. David Watson incurring the wrath of the referee for that aerial battle. There was maybe an elbow up there with Han Stevens. And it will be a Gibraltar free kick, and like you said earlier, Scotland have to be really alive to these set pieces, because that's how Gibraltar could get their chance to try and strike back and make this a slightly nervier affair.
That's a good line.
Flicked on. This could be the chance,
Yeah,
but Rory Adams is out there quickly. Good goalkeeping. And again, Scotland quite keen to try and get this up the pitch quickly, although Mabude just calms things down.
It's really efficient with his passing, Kyle Ewart.
Making his first appearance at this level, and albeit against slightly weaker opposition, he's absolutely bossing things out there at the moment. That's a lovely ball out to the left-hand side. He's clearly listening.
Sometimes your eye, if you're a certain type of player yourself, gets attracted to the players who do these sort of things. That's enough at just out doing the basics, the simple things really, really well.
Short corner from the left-hand side. I think that's the first time tonight. They've all been on the right-hand side so far, as Montgomery works it back to Ure. Matthew Anderson still an option. We'll just come back to Montgomery. Oh, he just got that one wrong. I think that's a first real mistake that Scotland have made all night. Montgomery, just a bit of miscommunication there.
Yeah, just wrong wavelengths there. I think Montgomery's wanting to be reverse pass inside from James Wilson. He'd peeled into the box. We'll let him away with it.
And like I say, Montgomery's made 5 first-team appearances for Blackburn Rovers, just 2 this season. Made his championship debut in April this year, and his first start a few days later. Unfortunately, he was sent off for 2 bookings, but we won't go into that too much. He's on 2 loans in the National League North. Can play a bit of right back as well, but he's been in the Scotland setup for some time. He was playing under-16s with Ben Gannon, Dilk, Matthew Anderson, Ben McPherson, so he does know a lot of these players. A few years kind of out in the international wilderness, but very much back in the setup now. As Chumukwa Mullen tries to bring it forward. Kyle Ure. Anderson looking for the inside ball for Emilio Lawrence. This really should be the 3rd for Scotland. Brilliant defending. Really well done by Gibraltar. And Gonzalez sliding back. Lawrence had all the time in the world to pick out a teammate at the back post, and James Wilson was desperate for that ball across. But Gonzalez did really well to slide back and make sure the ball didn't end up in his own net. Scotland take another quick corner. Lawrence thought about the shot. Still thinking about the shot. Oh, wow! Emilio Lawrence with an absolute screamer. His 2nd of the night. And it just opened up in front of him. He opened his body and curled it past the goalkeeper from 20 yards. Scotland have their 3rd. They make it 3-0 after 26 minutes. And it's not going to be the nervy night that we maybe anticipated. Scotland are making this look very, very easy right now.
Yeah, they really are, and it's coming from the intensity of how they're playing, whether that's in an open play, and from that short corner again, ball works from Kyle Ewart into Emilio Lawrence, and he just shapes it. I think it does a wee step, opens it back up, and that corner opens up from shapes in. Fantastic again. Well, one think's better, that or Mabude?
I think that one.
That one, yeah, for me. A fantastic hit from Emilio Lawrence. Unfortunate not to get an assist a moment earlier.
I was going to say making amends for not picking out a man at the back post there.
It's a fantastic ball from Matthew Anderson as well. He set him away. He more than made up from it there. A fantastic hit.
Absolutely superb from the Man City youngster. He's not been involved in the first team yet, but where he's going, just give it time. A couple little step overs there. He's clearly playing with confidence now. Chilukwa Mullen out to Mabude. Donovan making the underlapping run. That's a brilliant ball from Mabude. He tries to get it across. There's the 4th. It's an own goal this time. I think it might be Gonzalez. He couldn't clear over his own bar. James Wilson denied his goal again. But Scotland in free scoring form. And this could be a very heavy scoreline indeed if the one-way traffic keeps going.
Down that right side again, causing problems. That connection between Mabude and Colby Donovan. Anytime he goes wide in the touchline, he's making that underlapping run. And he just puts it in an area, makes the Gibraltar defender defend. Unfortunately for Scotland, ends up in the back of the net. And at this moment in time, it's going to be a long night for Gibraltar. Scotland have done everything first class at this moment. As I says again, the intensity that they're playing at, they haven't let up at all. That is key for these sort of games. You don't want to create your own problems. You're absolutely first class in terms of mentality.
Well, that's it. On a night like tonight, it's all kind of about professionalism, isn't it? And just making sure you get the job done.
What a pass.
Scotland break forward again. Mabude trying to put it into the path of Wilson. Lawrence is there. Anderson's behind him. If he gets the pass away quickly, just holds on to it. Waiting for the space to open up. Kyle Ure wants a pop at goal, and Victor holds on. Kyle Ure is having some game. He is spraying balls left, right and centre. He's playing in the championship with Ayr United at the moment, but the way he's playing, I don't know if he'll be at that level for very long.
No, I think any Celtic fans watching this wouldn't mind having him back and available in midfield. It's more the variety of passing, all different sorts of techniques to obviously release teammates. There's another chance for Wilson. Is this the one? There it is.
There it is for James Wilson, the goalkeeper. Left on his knees outside the box, and James Wilson does have his goal. Scotland do have their fifth. It took them 20 minutes to find a second goal, but it's just been relentless in the last 5 or so minutes. They can't stop scoring right now, and James Wilson has his first goal at under-21 level. Well, let's have another look. Diri Mabude slotting it through. The keeper came. I don't think he was ever getting to that, Scott.
He wasn't. It's a great weight from Mabude. That slide rule pass, obviously getting that connection with James Wilson off the shoulder, and he tucks it home. This could be anything Scotland want if they manage to keep this sort of intensity up.
Well, I actually almost missed that because I was looking at what's Scotland's best ever scoreline at under-21 level. I believe it's a 7-0 win over San Marino back in October 2020. I think that might get challenged this evening, Scott.
Yep, the way Scotland are playing, there's no let up.
And here they come again. Watson looking for that ball into the middle. Wilson times his run, and there's
Wow.
another. Well, this is becoming all too easy for Scotland. James Wilson has his second in a matter of minutes. Scotland 6 to the good now, and they don't look like letting up either. They are cutting Gibraltar to shreds, and it's another brilliant goal for Scotland.
Yeah, down that right side again. David Watson, ball across. James Wilson in that 6-yard box to tap home. Like I said, the easiest thing when it gets comfy is just to come off the gas a little bit. Scotland just haven't done that whatsoever. They can see where they can hurt this Gibraltar team, and they constantly just keep asking the questions. Albeit, yes, we take opposition into account. You can only beat what's in front of you. And as I said, mentality's been everything for Scotland tonight. Mentality, intensity. The top off, the quality's been there as well to go and punish and get on the score sheet.
And it looks like Gibraltar have changed shape a little bit. They've got a back five at the moment. Unfortunately, the damage is almost certainly done, but it's Jesse Gomez who's moved into kind of a right wing back role.
I'm surprised it took this long for them to drop into that shape.
We'll see how that affects those balls down the channel that Scotland have really made use of, as Donovan whips it in. Wilson almost getting his head to that. We'll drop for Kyle Ure on the left foot, off the post and in. There's the 7th. And you're running out of superlatives for this Scotland team. In the last 10 minutes alone, they've scored 6 goals. It's been unbelievable to watch. The Gibraltar youngsters, unfortunately, really don't have an answer just now. And Kyle Ure, who has had such a good game, spraying passes left, right and centre, he's got an absolute screamer to just add to the collection.
Yep, that's my favourite of the night so far, and I'm not being biased because I've been so impressed with his performance, but that's how you hit a ball in the volley. A fantastic strike, because then off the post, no more than he's deserved. He's been absolutely first class for me, but this is getting really tough to watch for Gibraltar.
Yeah, we always knew there was going to be perhaps a bit of a gulf. I know I kind of alluded to it maybe being a nervy night. I don't think we really thought that. As Gibraltar win a free kick there, Matthew Anderson getting involved in a bit of a tangle there with Caetano.
I think it's because at any level you can see teams obviously not of the level of opposition have been really frustrated by them in terms of shape and closing off spaces where they can't play in. But Scotland's just the intensity, they just can't live with it. And at the same time, all the players look absolutely full of confidence. You see Kyle Ure obviously taking on that volley. He's back on the ball again. It's the first one I don't think that's found the Scotland jersey tonight. Been outstanding.
Well, I've certainly been on the end of a couple Couple of 7-0, Scott. I don't know about you. Have you ever kind of been on the end of a really tough scoreline, and kind of what will they be saying at halftime? What will the Scotland message be at halftime as well?
I have, yeah, but I was off when it was 2-1, so the Scotland message, just keep doing what you're doing. Obviously, as I say, mentality is such a big thing when you do play these smaller nations. We have seen throughout the years it can be difficult. As I say, everything's been absolutely on the money for Scotland tonight so far. They've kept asking the same questions, where they've been getting joy, moved the ball really quick, and that's what you want to see from these young players. Just keep doing the simple things over and over. Don't get bored of doing the right thing, and that's why they have such a big lead in this game.
I suppose as well in under-21 European qualifying can be pretty tight sometimes, and they will be thinking about goal differences. Anderson swings one in for James Wilson. It was almost perfectly placed, but Wilson just couldn't quite get the direction on the ball. I think maybe it just came to him a little quickly. He was maybe leaning back. I'm trying to find excuses for him there, but you can see his reaction. That's his reaction whenever I think he misses a chance, isn't it?
I think he'll be disappointed with that. It's an absolutely wonderful ball in from Matthew Anderson. He's put a few of them in already tonight. He was just crying for James Wilson to nod it into the back of the net, but it goes by. Again, Scotland just constantly asking questions. Yes, they've dropped to a back five, Gibraltar, but it hasn't changed anything in terms of the momentum in this game. It hasn't frustrated Scotland.
And certainly when you look at those assist stats, like I said, 5 and 9 for Matthew Anderson, it's no surprise when he's putting in deliveries like that. So he's taken the kind of more unusual route. He was playing for Admira Wacker in the second division in Austria, on loan from Celtic last season, and this year he's moved permanently to Belgium in the second division. He's obviously didn't see a way to the first team at Celtic, but he's got a lot of under-21 caps now, and if he's able to get first team football wherever it is, it's clearly doing him well.
Yeah, of course. I think that's the main thing. It's if there's a path for you then to get a chance in the first team, an opportunity, and we all know how hard it is as a young player to get regular football at a club like Celtic, looking to sign players and looking to obviously compete in the Champions League year in, year out. So it's not an easy place for a young player to go in and play regularly every week. So he's obviously took the decision for his football and his development. He thought that was the right move for him. And you see he's playing first team football. You see tonight he's performing really well. And who knows, sometimes you need to go away to come back.
Absolutely, and I'm sure there will be plenty of teams interested in him, and plenty of these other Scottish youngsters who might not be getting minutes at their clubs just now. And there's just a little hold up in play here. Harry Victor, the Gibraltar goalkeeper, is down, struggling with injury. It's been a tough night for him. You don't want to pile it on too much, but
the towels came in.
Yeah, it's a long night for Gibraltar, and you've got to respect them.
Yeah, I think when you look at them as a nation and the pool of players they have to choose from, it's nowhere near obviously the level of Scotland. So they have to try and create that kind of team relationships where they can make themselves really dogged and hard to beat. But when you do come up against teams and players obviously playing at a higher level than you, and they're on it, it is really, really difficult.
And of course, Scott, you were in a side that knows a thing or two about underestimating Gibraltar opposition. Celtic against Lincoln Red Imps back in 2016. Brendan Rodgers' first game in charge. There's plenty of Gibraltar players in that side. That must have been an interesting dressing room environment.
It was. I told you that in confidence. It was interesting in the fact that it was Brendan Rodgers' first game, and he remained so calm afterwards. I think we were all expecting sort of hairdryer treatment that we hadn't quite seen of yet, but he remained really calm, and obviously that was a season when Celtic and Brendan Rodgers went on to do fantastically well. So it can happen. It can happen. It can happen at any level. We have seen it over the years. But in terms of this young Scotland team tonight, been absolutely fantastic from minute one.
It will just be a morale boost for the Scotland team as well. Just looking at the games they've played so far this year. They beat Ireland 2-0 in a friendly. Goals from Bobby Wales and Jude Bonner, not in the squad tonight. They then lost 6-1 to Iceland. That was back in March. And then 2-0 losses to Czechia and Portugal, albeit there was a red card in one of those games as well. It's been a tough time for the under-21s. Questions asked, but They're really providing some answers tonight, albeit against slightly weaker opposition. And they've got a big test coming up in just a couple of days, heading out to Azerbaijan, heading to Baku on Tuesday. It's a 4 p.m. kickoff back in UK time. It'll be interesting to see how they get on there.
Yeah, well, listen, you would expect them to take huge confidence from tonight. Obviously, a lot of players getting on the score sheet, your creative players causing lots of problems for the opposition. That's the type of performance you want to then go to a real difficult place to get a win. You would expect they'll be asked a lot more questions defensively. But that was the way, that if you were going abroad, that would be the way you would want to go out to that sort of tie. Lots of goals, lots of creativity, lots of confidence throughout the team.
Well, the momentum just slowed slightly there with the Gibraltar keeper going down. He stayed on. He's got more to worry about here. There's another. No, no, that is a goal kick. David Watson disagreeing with that.
Linesman pointed for a corner. Referee opted otherwise.
Looked like it hit Tyler Carrington on the way through there. Yes, off this current Scotland under-21 player pool, 4 have been called up to the full A squad, 3 of them going on to gain caps. Callan McKenna was called up before the summer during that goalkeeping crisis, of course. Lennon Miller, Ben Gannon-Doka in the current men's squad and could be involved this evening. Like we said already, James Wilson, 2 goals tonight after becoming Scotland's youngest ever male international earlier this year. Former under-21s like Kieran Slicker, Max Johnson, Josh Doig, Connor Barron, Kieran Bowie and Tommy Conway have all gone on to gain full caps for the senior squad. Calvin Ramsey and Aaron Hickey among that number as well. Plenty have gone on to impress at Premiership clubs or in the English Championship. Robert Apter, Liam Morrison, Josh Mulligan, Lyle Cameron. So there is that talent coming through. There's Emilio Lawrence. Looks it back to Watson. Here's Christy Montgomery. Watson just dropping deep. He's been everywhere so far tonight. Mabudi looking for Donovan. Chilukwa Mullen was another option, but it's just come back to the left-hand side. Watson to Ure. Just lost the ball there. Found it at the nick of time and made the run. Colby Donovan comes inside, tries to slip it through. James Wilson had made the run. Loose touch from Watson, and now Gibraltar will try and get away, but there's the foul from Christy Montgomery. Gibraltar take it quickly. Colby Donovan having to defend here. And he just lets that one go for a goal kick. Must be so hard for those Gibraltar players just feeding on scraps up the top.
I was just about to say that, the Gibraltar striker. I think he's hardly the touch of the ball, and then when it does go forward, he has to chase it, and Scott just in so much control.
Yeah, that's Jaden Bartolo, has 11 caps for the men's team for Gibraltar. He's currently playing for Chesham United on loan from Wycombe Wanderers. Easily the most elite team that any of these players play for, most of them playing their trade in the Gibraltar top flight. As the ball comes back to Chilukwa Mullen, who was a bit of a coup for Dunfermline back in February when they got him from Leeds United. Neil Lennon really impressed with the youngster, who is making his 18th appearance at under-21 level this evening. Donovan fires the ball in. Lawrence isn't going to be able to get to that. As we approach half-time, some of the pace and intensity just coming out of the Scotland attack is the Gibraltar players as well. Just wait for that half-time whistle, wait for a bit of respite from this Scotland attack. Luke Graham able to deal with that one pretty comfortably. If Chilukwa Mullen keeps his place in this under-21 side for this qualifying campaign, he could be one of Scotland's highest ever appearance makers at this level, as James Wilson almost gets onto the end of that one.
It was a great idea from Kelly Ure there. Again, James Wilson off the shoulder. Nothing better for a midfielder when you open up. You've got a striker looking to make the darting runs in between centre halves. Unfortunately for him, it's just a wee bit too heavy. But you're right, the pace has came down a bit naturally. I think obviously you see the intensity that Scotland have put into the opening 40 minutes. I think it's the 5 minutes obviously we're playing out now before half time. Took a wee bit of foot off the gas, which is expected. Going at half time, you'd imagine there'll probably be some changes, obviously with that trip you spoke about next week.
Was that the Scott game? Will have to kind of make a couple of changes to try and inject that intensity back into the Scotland side, because it must be so easy for complacency to creep in at this scoreline.
I don't think necessarily in terms of that. I just think he might want to give minutes round the squad. Obviously, you want to as many players as possible minutes. If the squad allows it to tonight, it certainly does. And there'll be players he wants to obviously give a chance to go and impress. And you never know, come Tuesday, it'd be the sort of player that could come off the bench and make a real impact. So it'll be interesting to see what he does at half time. Obviously, the game's won. There's no getting away from that. The game's won. Scotland total control.
There will be a few players on that bench who would be in need of minutes. Ryan One, Rudy Molotnikov, Sam Cleal-Harding, who's not played a single minute of club football so far this season, and Finlay Curtis, who's been in and out.
Good play
at Rangers as Scotland break that press and come forward. Anderson slips it to Lawrence. Wilson heading for the back post. That's where the cross goes. Mabudi keeps it in. Could come back to Watson. And it's just gone behind for a corner. That was a big chance for Scotland to get yet another, because there won't be too much added time played, I would imagine.
Really well built chance again there from Scotland from the back. Couple of passes through the middle. Kyle Ure switches the play. And opposite winger to opposite winger. Looked to get the cut back. And David Watson in that penalty box again. Just couldn't quite make the contact he wanted to.
The ball comes in. It could drop for Montgomery. He'll try and have a second bite at the cherry. It's just hooked behind there by Gonzalez. Desperate stuff from Gibraltar, who need this half-time whistle more than anything.
By any means necessary there from the Gibraltar centre-back.
Donovan played it all the way back to Ure there, and he's still onside. Donovan gets the ball back, tries to cut it back to Watson. It's blocked and it comes through to Victor. It was 2 minutes of additional time, but a minute left of it to play, and I'm sure Gibraltar will try and keep that ball as far away from their goal as physically possible. And exercise and time wasting, although that one almost came all the way through, and Rory Adams has to look alive, take the touch and just play it back out to Chilukwa Mullen. Scotland looking for an eighth. It's Watson. Wilson's made the run. It's a good tackle though there from Stevens. Watson keeping it alive, trying to hold Stevens off. Stevens, who's actually played against Copenhagen in European qualifiers. But that will be a Scotland throw as this first half ticks to an end. A first half that has gone just about as perfectly as possible for Scotland. They've not scored with every attack, but that's the way it's felt at times. I think there probably was a period in between the 22nd and 32nd minute they almost did that, as Watson goes for goal, comes back out for Wilson, doesn't quite sit up. The flag's gone up in any case. It wouldn't have counted even if James Wilson had been able to turn that goalward. And that is the final act of an unbelievable first half for the Scotland Under-21s. Admittedly against opposition who aren't quite at the same level, but at times there Scotland had that 10-minute period. They were completely clinical. Scott, how impressed were you with that little spell?
Yeah, it was more the mentality from me for the first minute, just doing the right things time and time again. The scene where they were getting joy in terms of creating chances, and they kept answering, asking questions of Gibraltar, and then once they got that first goal, settled them down. And after that, some of the goals, you could pick 3 or 4 absolutely outstanding strikes. Kyle Ure probably the pick of the bunch for me, but to a man, Scotland have been outstanding. The mentality, as I say, and the intensity of their play been the standout for me.
Yeah, Emilio Lawrence it was getting that first goal for Scotland, and they scored a bagful after that. So half-time here at Dens Park. Unbelievably, Scotland 7, Gibraltar 0. Good evening and welcome back to Dens Park for this Scotland Under-21s Euro Championship qualifying match between Scotland and Gibraltar, and it was a first half that maybe even exceeded the expectations of the most optimistic Scotland fans. 7-0 to the hosts at half-time. We're going to take you through some of the goals that Scotland scored in that incredible 45 minutes, as they are currently on course for their biggest ever win. It started in just the second minute. Emilio Lawrence rolling home after Colby Donovan's cross, giving Scotland the perfect start. Man City winger scoring his first goal at this level. Maybe not one that the goalkeeper will want to watch back too often. Well, that got Scotland off to a fantastic start, and then 20 minutes later, Dire Mabudi fired them into a 2-0 lead with an unbelievable solo goal that you would have been justified in thinking would surely have been the best of the night. Wait until you see some of the other ones. Not a bad effort from Mabudi though. A couple of flicks and tricks and firing it in at the near post. I told you they'd get better. Look at that from Emilio Lawrence, his second of the evening, Scotland's third. Just opening up the body and curling it in. I said from 20 yards, it might be 25. Maybe not doing him justice. Unbelievable finish from the Man City youngster. And that made it 3-0. It was 4-0 soon after. The ball rolled across, and Kevin Gonzalez, unfortunately, putting it into his own net. That was 3 goals in the space of 5 minutes. As Colby Donovan technically got another assist there. 4-0 at that point, and it would just get better and better. This time Mabudi sliding through for James Wilson. The goalkeeper came out nowhere near it, and Wilson was maybe a bit frustrated at that point that he hadn't added his name to the score sheet, subsequently doing so. Getting his first goal at this level, having already got, of course, his cap for the full A squad. Just 2 minutes later, he had a second. Another easy finish for the Hearts youngster. Again, coming across from the right-hand side, David Watson getting the assist this time and just tucking it in. So that was the 6th goal. The 7th wasn't bad either. We've got the players on the pitch at the moment, but we've got time to bring you this 7th. Scott Allen is my co-coms. This was your favourite of the bunch, Scott.
Yeah, just the technique for me. So I spoke about his variety of passing in the first half. One time he gets that chance, it drops him on the volley, and the technique is absolutely fantastic. Drills it low and hard in off the post and in. Always looks better when it comes off one of the woodworks. And Scotland, obviously, that first half, absolute dominant in all aspects of the game. It was a look to make. There'll be some change. We spoke about that before. For the end of the first half, whether they would change or not with the game on Tuesday in mind. It looks like he has done that.
That's exactly what he's doing. Ben McPherson, Miller Thompson, Sam Cleal-Harding and Rudy Milotnikov all coming on. So 4 changes at the break for Scotland. Try and figure out who's come off there as well. There's 2 changes for Gibraltar as well. I'll bring you those in just a second. Carl de Torres is one of them. And there is going to be another. Whenever they get the board ready, it will be Angelo Paradis coming on. Normally a left back. So Scotland with the 4 changes. Ben McPherson, Rudy Milotnikov, Sam Cleal-Harding and Miller Thompson coming on. Looks like Miller Thompson's lining up at left back at the moment. I'm sure he probably won't be doing too much defending. Sam Cleal-Harding just slotting in next to Jeremiah Chalukwa Mullen. Rudy Milotnikov has come into the midfield. So a rest for Matthew Anderson and Luke Graham, 2 of this under-21 side who've played a lot of club football. Christy Montgomery, another who came off there as well. That's Colby Donovan.
It's a challenge for the players coming on now. Can they maintain that intensity that we've seen in the first half of the players who have went off? Because there is opportunities to go and get yourself on the score sheet, which they will all want.
Emilio Lawrence fouled badly there. It will be a free kick to Scotland. It's been interesting at set pieces. They've not been too keen to just launch it into the box, and again they're quite happy to just keep the ball on the deck. We should say as well, the pitch here looking absolutely spectacular at Dens Park. It was a pitch that came in for criticism at times last season, but it's looking absolutely resplendent tonight. Scotland playing some pretty good football on it as well. Molotnikov didn't win that one. Instead it's Gibraltar and Jesse Gomez coming away with the ball, and it's Gomez who is fouled by Emilio Lawrence. Gomez, one of just a handful of Gibraltar players who play their football on these shores. Plays with Blythe Spartans. I think that's in the 7th tier of English football.
Near Newcastle.
Plays there alongside Paddy McLafferty, who plays for Gibraltar's A side. Ben McPherson, the number 2. One of the older heads in the squad. He first started playing under-21 football back in 2023 when he was on loan at Queen's Park from Celtic and had that dreadful ACL injury. It ruled him out for a year, but he's back now. He's got a chance to curl this in. This could go all the way in, and James Wilson will claim his hat-trick. I think he got to that just before it crept over the line. It was almost an own goal, but James Wilson will claim an under-21s hat-trick, a Scotland hat-trick. And he's a little bit embarrassed about the whole thing.
He wasn't passing up that opportunity like all strikers for the hat-trick. I think he's apologising there to Ben McPherson. Don't know if it would have been his goal or not.
No, surely not.
No, and he just pokes it home on the line. And again, alive. That's what you want from your striker, alive in the 6-yard box. Goalie fumbles it, one to look away at from a Gibraltar point of view. James Wilson capitalises and gets his hat-trick. We did say there would be chances there for him tonight, didn't we? Julie took them.
Hat-trick at any level for Scotland is one worth remembering. And you might remember that one for the hilarity of it rather than the actual strike itself. As Bartolo gets away from Mullen, and Sam Cleel-Harding gets a foot in there. Cleel-Harding, of course, made a couple of appearances for Dundee United last season. Another who was at Kelty, though. Scotland clearly did well enough there to get into the United first team set up in the second half of last season. Yeah,
he was a player last year when he came to Kelty. I was really impressed with. One I've got high hopes for from some of the ability he has in terms of that composure when defending, good on the ball. So athletically, he's a really good size. When he did come into that United team last year, I think his debut was away at Hearts, done really well. Played well at Ibrox.
Scored as well.
He scored, yes, and it's just that's the frustrating thing. It's that progression and development has just stopped. Obviously, United have had a decent start to the season as well. Obviously, strengthened in that centre back position, but I think for him, he's obviously got that relationship now with Airdrie. I don't quite know how that's going to work, because I know he wasn't there on Saturday, but that gives him the opportunity if he needs the games to go out, if Dundee United aren't needing him for the bench. But a player who needs to be playing football, he's got some real quality.
Yeah, he's one of a couple of Dundee United players who headed out as part of that partnership agreement to Under-21s. Scott Constable, who's another Scotland age grade regular in the under-19s. As Kyle Ure, this time on his weaker foot, spreads it out to the right hand side. Mabude squaring up his man. McPherson was making the run behind him. Comes back to Kyle Ure, tries the slip ball through to Watson. Went for the first time shot, off target. Scott, you were pretty happy with that.
Yeah, he's got slippers on tonight. Every pass he hits seems to be the right pass. I think, as I says again, he's got that vision, that connection. It's a great run from David Watson. Obviously can't quite direct the shot and target, but we've seen that quality constantly from Kyle Ure tonight. Obviously had a great goal as well, but it's more for me the finesse and the passing, really crisp with it as well, and most importantly playing forward, looking to hurt the opposition.
Yeah, he's yet to play for Celtic's first team, but if he keeps up performances like this, it's surely a matter of time. He captained their under-18s. I think he captained their B-side a couple of times. Almost 70 appearances in the Lowland League, so he has played quite a lot of men's football. Recently signed a new deal until 2027. He pings another beautiful ball out to the left-hand side. Miller-Thompson on the wraparound, comes back into Kyle Ure instead though, just lays it off to Rudy Molotnikov. Thompson with the ball in, looking for Wilson, headed away by Gonzalez. Stevens on the turn, Watson takes it off his toes, Ure tries to slip it through. Molotnikov almost on the end of that one. McPherson in quickly, assesses his options and just goes back to David Watson. Molotnikov makes the run across the front post, lovely touch away from his man, just pulls it back to Ure on the left foot, it's deflected and just comes to Harry Victor. Thought that was a good opportunity for Ure to really let it fly again there.
Yeah, I think he was wanting it first time. I think Rudy just a wee bit heavy with the pass, so he can't come on it first time, has to take the touch. Fortunately for Gibraltar, it's blocked.
Stevens up against Watson. Molotnikov trying to come away with it. Strong challenge in there from the Gibraltar midfielder, De Torres, who's only just on. McPherson, just a little shove in the back there. McPherson now with Partick Thistle, doing well there. As James Wilson is taken off after scoring his hat-trick. And Ryan One will come in for some much-needed minutes. Really confidence-boosting performance from James Wilson, and he'll go home tonight with a match ball as well.
Well, maybe not.
Might have to split it, yeah. Emilio Lawrence might have a thing or two to say about that. Miller-Thompson up well, playing left back tonight, and Scott, is it one of those nights that you can kind of afford to have a winger at left back, I think?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously we spoke about that dominance that Scotland have had throughout the game. They haven't really been troubled defensively at all, and that's down to obviously the mentality and intensity they have showed from minute one. So you can afford to have that little bit of risk, get you that quality in the attacking areas.
There's the shot from Gibraltar, almost came through. I think I'm right in saying that's their first shot of the evening. It's certainly the first time that Rory Adams has been forced to make an actual save. A sign of life from Gibraltar, some green shoots there, and that was a decent opportunity for Stevens if he could have got his shot away through the bodies as Miller-Thompson scurries forward to the edge of the box. Ryan One trying to play the pass. David Watson, brilliant ball to Mabudi. Inside the box, cuts it across. It comes back to Emilio Lawrence. Scotland knocking on the door again as they go in search of what could potentially be a record-breaking win. Lawrence tries to cut the ball across. It goes out just for a goal kick. Will that be in their minds at all, Scott? Will that be something they've spoken about, or is that something that only us nerdy statos think about?
Yeah, I think it's only used nerdy statos to think about these things. To be honest, listen, I think for the players it's about they want to go on the score sheet, be as dominant as possible, like you said, goal difference and all these things. It can all come down to the final game, and it would be really good obviously if Scotland can have that as in good a position as possible.
Sorry, my mistake. They're already at that scoreline. 8-0 would be the record, so they just need to either keep a clean sheet or maybe even add to that if they can. It's Gibraltar's heaviest ever loss was 10-0 to Belarus, so that's still intact at the moment as Rory Adams comes out again, and just a couple of moments for Gibraltar in the last couple of minutes, but Scotland will offer no respite as Kyle Ure tries to just chip one forward there, looking for Rudy Molotnikov, and Watson on the charge. Molotnikov just loses his footing there, trying to slip the ball through to David Watson. He's an all-action midfielder, David Watson. He can fly into those challenges, he can score goals, he can really do it all, Scott.
Yeah, he can. Obviously we see that week in, week out in the Premiership. I think you see there, gives the ball away and then instantly wins it back, that reaction.
Ure dinking another ball out to the right-hand side for McPherson. Comes back inside now to Ure. Molotnikov, a couple of one-touch passes. Mabudi with a back heel, just too much power on it though, and it comes through to Victor.
Yeah, it was a nice idea, bit of creation there at the edge of the box. It's good interplay from Scotland.
It won't be too long until these sides meet again. 15th of November is when Scotland will travel to Gibraltar for the away game in this qualifying group. We see Azerbaijan up next and Baku. And then in November, Gibraltar away and Bulgaria at home. So a couple of good opportunities for Scotland to build up points before they play Czechia and Portugal again next March. Those easily the two hardest games still to come, as Watson has the ball and just chips it out to Ben McPherson. Mabudi offering the short ball, that's where it goes. To Watson. Mabudi's made the run. This is brilliant from Scotland. Mabudi to the line. He cuts it across. It could still come for Lawrence. And there's another. And James Wilson will have to share that hat-trick ball, because Emilio Lawrence has just added his third. Added a 9th for Scotland. They have been so clinical in this game. And Gibraltar need it to end quickly. We're not at the hour mark yet, and this could get really damaging for them.
It was great play again, wasn't it? You were into Molotnikov round the corner from Mabudi, who'd made that run. As the presence of mind to lift the head, puts it across the box, and there he was to claim his hat-trick as well, as we spoke about a minute ago. But some of the football around the edge of the box from Scotland has been excellent.
Scott, did you ever play in any games that were kind of as one-sided as this, when you were on the side that were scoring at will?
Maybe when I was about 9 or 10 year old playing boys club. Listen, as we spoke about, yes, you aren't playing against a high level opposition, but we have seen over the years these games can be frustrating. They can make it really hard for you. Scotland have just done everything right so far. That guy on the ball now, Kill You Up, he's been at the heart of that. Take the opposition out of it. The way he's played, just really, really sharp on the ball, 1 and 2 touch, crisp passing, playing forward. I obviously watched the Under-21s against Portugal. Didn't quite have that control and kind of presence in the middle of the park that night. Yes, you also have to speak about the quality opposition you were playing that night, but in terms of how he's controlled this game from minute 1 and not get bored of doing the right things, it's just been a real shining light for me.
He's been the quarterback, hasn't he? Just pinging passes left, right and centre, almost always on the money. As Mabudi tries to play it down the line for McPherson. It will be another Scotland corner. I imagine that one will be taken short. Yep, Mabudi back to Watson. Curls it in, good ball, looking for Ryan One. Lawrence keeps it alive on the far side. Miller Thompson is behind him. He keeps the ball himself. Tries to chip through Victor. Couldn't get a hand to it, One. Couldn't get a solid header on it either. And it comes all the way to McPherson at the back post as Scotland look there for double figures. Kyle Ure to Miller Thompson. Like we say, he's not really playing left back, is he? It's Emilio Lawrence. Still has the ball, still going. Tries the shot, that's unbelievable.
Wow.
A fantastic fourth for Emilio Lawrence. Scotland hit double digits at Dens Park. I was going to say that's the pick of the bunch. There's been so many. But that's an absolute rocket from the edge of the box from Emilio Lawrence. Pep Guardiola, are you watching?
Oh, he gets a little nutmeg, doesn't he? And then absolutely lets fly. He gets his 4th of the evening. And this is an absolute stellar performance from Scotland Under-21s.
Yeah, they've absolutely smashed the record for their biggest ever victory, Scotland. Tell you what, I'm glad I looked that up before I came there. And there's another change for Gibraltar. Jay Coombs has come off.
Oh, he gave it away straight away.
And Gibraltar give it away from kickoff. It was Julian Brito who came on there. He's got some defending to do already as Lawrence picks it up at the back post. He might have another go at goal. Yes, he does. This one's over the bar. Never scored 5 in a game?
No.
Well, that's us just hit the hour mark. So Scotland scoring on average every 6 minutes. That's maths even I can do. And it's just been wave after wave of attack that unfortunately Gibraltar just have no answer for. It's probably been, I was going to say it's probably been one of the easier nights for Scotland, but they have worked hard. They've been really professional about this. At no point have they let up. And they lost the first 2 games 2-0, so they're already doing their goal difference the world of good.
Just moved the ball really well. They haven't get caught up in the scoreline when everyone starts playing for themselves. Played as a real team. Constantly moving Gibraltar, asking questions. And that's the reward you get. It's mentality, especially in these sort of fixtures. We can't hide the fact some of the finishes have been of a high quality.
Emilio Lawrence in particular, just when he is able to just jink inside on that right foot and let fly, has been spectacular. It's Ben McPherson shimmies and then crosses, looking for One. It's headed away though, and Kyle Ure just takes a little touch and just lays it off to Shalokwa Mullen. McPherson down the line for Molotnikov, gets it back, whips it across. One somehow doesn't make any connection.
Should score.
Yeah, it should be 11-0.
Yeah, it should be. Fantastic play again. Obviously, Gibraltar just really struggling with their runners in that inside channel. It's a delicious cross. I think it's that Ben McPherson put that in, and you think Ryan Honey's just going to nod at home. Just whistles by his head. Again, there's more goals in this for Scotland. They're relentless in how they're approaching this final third.
It's been one of those nights where early on you say this could be anything. It really could have been anything. As Lee Cipollina comes on for Gibraltar. It's been a hugely bruising night for some of those Gibraltar players. You just hope that they're not too disheartened by this. They'll have easier games than they'll have had tonight. A night where it's almost all worked for Scotland. Kyle Ure around the corner. Right foot, left foot, is pass, like I say, almost always on the money. And he's still wanting it, still shouting for the ball. He gets it now. Opening up the play, looking for Molotnikov. Miller-Thompson makes the underlapping run. Lawrence just took his eye off it for a split second. Again, maybe his first mistake of the evening. And goes out for a throw on the far side to Gibraltar. You just hope that the Scotland A side have as much attacking quality tonight against Greece. That's obviously a huge game for Steve Clarke's side. Scott, you excited for that one?
Yeah, I think it's a, listen, we know how big a game this is and what's at stake for Scotland. If you could come through this game with a win, set up the Belarus game for Sunday, and then you just, we obviously dare to believe it, we could maybe get to a World Cup. But you'd like to think, obviously, Steve Clarke, off the back of recently playing Greece and the double header, has learned something, and maybe a wee trick up his sleeve it could get us the win. But I'll need every player to a man to be on it tonight, because they do have some players in that Greece side, as we've seen the last time, can really hurt you.
Yeah, Konstantinos Karetsas, the 17-year-old, looks absolutely unbelievable. There is some doubt over his participation, although the teams are out. I don't quite have the time at the moment to look at my phone and check them, purely because I'm worried that if I take my eyes off this for a second, Scotland might score maybe not just one but two or three. I've run out of fingers now. Cleel Harding on the ball. Shalokwa Mullen to Ben McPherson. Like I say, two Scotland youngsters both getting time in the Scottish Championship. We do have the team there. I'll tell you about that in just a second, as Miller-Thompson picks up the ball on the left-hand side. Lawrence has dropped back and he has it now. What will he do? This time he lays it off to Ure, who chips it across, looking for One. The ball's in the back of the net, but the whistle is gone. There was a foul in the build-up there. Ryan One cruelly denied, and Scotland denied what would have been another goal.
Yep, he just strayed offside. Again, Kyle Ure with that little delicate flick into the space for Ryan One. He'll be desperate to go on the score sheet.
Well, we'll bring you that Scotland team news. So it looks like a 4-3-3. Angus Gunn starting in goals with the back four of Aaron Hickey, John Souttar, Grant Hanley and Andy Robertson. A midfield three of Scott McTominay, Lewis Ferguson and John McGinn, with Looks like two wingers, Ben Gannon-Doak and Ryan Christie, and Shay Adams up top. What do you make of that team selection, Scott?
I'll tell you at full time. No, I think obviously with Ben Gannon-Doak obviously coming into the side, we do like a different side with him in it. He's a one player with that real high level pace. He can get us up the pitch. It's, for me, can make all the difference. You also look at the midfield, there's a lot of experience in there. John McGinn now obviously back on form and on the score sheet regularly now for Aston Villa. But it's a huge night for the A squad.
Ben McPherson trying to get that cross in. It takes a deflection, comes through to the goalkeeper. Yep, certainly is a big game for them. Wonder if they'll have had the first half on at all in the dressing room. As Gibraltar try and clear their lines. Ben Gannon-Doak, a player who would have played at Celtic with Kyle Ure. That must have been some team to watch.
I was just about to say that. You imagine having that pace and you're open up with that left foot. You can only imagine what that looked like.
That's a lovely touch there from Angelo Parody. And Gibraltar coming forward, but just giving the ball away far too easily there. Lee Cipollina as Dire Mabure comes back.
They're doing that much running, obviously going back the way, tracking runners. When they do venture forward, they just don't have the same energy. A real grueling night for them.
Well, it's good defending as well from Dire Mabure, who's at the back post now. If Emilio Lawrence can find him, Lawrence might fancy it himself. He crosses now, looking for One again, but Tyler Carrington again doing really well there to make sure One, who's probably got a couple of inches on him, doesn't win the header. It's Cleo Harding. I think he wins the throw there. I thought that actually came off the Scotland defender. But the decision goes the way of the hosts. McPherson. Like I say, a key part of Mark Wilson's Partick Thistle side in the Championship already this season. Dislodged Cammy Logan at right back and has made that berth his own. Watson, lovely leave from Emilio Lawrence. Miller Thompson slips but then holds on to the ball and it opens up and he curls it over the bar. Dundee United youngster curling it over the top. The referee not happy with something he's seen there. And he's just having a little word, I think, with Ryan One, with one of the centre halves. I think that might be Kevin Gonzalez. And just having a little chat. One has been receiving a lot of attention from the two Gibraltar centre halves ever since he's come on. It was what James Wilson did, but Wilson was just able to peel off them and get free. Ryan One hasn't quite been able to do that yet, but I would not rule him scoring. Would not rule out him scoring, I should say. 16-year-old Lucas Scanlon comes on. See, he's already got a full cap for the Gibraltar men's side. His older brother, Luke, who is Jay, who's already playing for the Gibraltar first team. He's been on the bench for Man United as well. Gibraltar trying to come forward, but well defended by Cleo Harding. Again, it's Kyle Ure who's quick to try and get the ball out to Mabudi. This one just not quite on the money. Good to see he's human after all, Kyle Ure.
Thought Mabudi should have controlled that. Good press up.
So I said it was Jay Scanlon, or James Scanlon, I should say, the Man United youngster who plays for Gibraltar's first team. Lucas Scanlon is currently in Burnley's academy. He's played plenty in the Under-18 Premier League. So again, decent pedigree for the Gibraltar side. As Ryan One does really well to dance away from a few challenges. Kyle Ure trying to stab that ball back through, comes all the way back to the keeper. About 20 minutes left of this one.
Good play from Ryan One there, made a great run initially. David Watson picks him out, holds the ball up, links the play. Kyle Ure just couldn't quite get him with the return pass.
Remains 10-0. Well, we see an 11th. You wouldn't bet against it. As Chiloko Mullen comes forward. Ball just behind Miller Thompson, who's of course now at Ross County after leaving Dundee United on a season-long loan. He was involved for United in the early stages of the season, but one of many who've gone up to county to try and help them away from the foot of the Scottish Championship and get them back up the top. Mabude's cross is deflected behind for a corner. Must admit, I was pretty surprised at the start that Ross County made to the Championship season. Just did not get off to a good start at all. Tony Docherty in there now, of course, replacing Don Cowie. Got his first win against Wraith Rovers. Miller Thompson scoring in that game as well. 2-0 win. Scott, now they've got that win. Do you see them rocketing up the league?
Yeah, I wouldn't say rocketing up the league. I think they just need to try and put some back-to-back wins together. Yeah, St Johnstone obviously a really good start to the season. Mark Wilson did a really good job at Partick Thistle as well. Obviously Ben McPherson a part of that. But I think when you are at the lower echelons of the league, I think you have to put back-to-back wins together, and then that allows you to then go on a run. I think that would be really important. But they do have quality throughout their side. Thompson obviously part of that Falkirk team who got promoted last season, to go out and get more game time.
Yeah, Luke Graham, who was on in the first half, another part of that Falkirk fix rate, so impressive for almost all of last season. As David Watson makes the run, Kyle Ure picked him out, just didn't take the touch. I don't think there will be anyone more desperate to score than Ryan One. With the score at 10-0, he'll really want to add his name to the score sheet. If Watson had taken a touch there, One was in a good position to maybe add an 11th for Scotland.
Yeah, there'll be more chances come his way. Scotland still just moving the ball really well, picking off Gibraltar well when they want to around that edge of the box. And the key to it has been the midfield runs, the underlapping runs from the fullbacks, caused all sorts of problems. Gibraltar obviously not tracking runners.
Gibraltar trying to come forward there. McPherson cuts it out. It's Carrington up against Mabude. Carrington wins it. Tries to play it round. McPherson, who goes down, and Kyle Ure just knocks it back to the goalkeeper. Rides the challenge out well as well. Comes back into Kyle Ure now. Mabude. Little mistake from Parody there, but Molotnikov couldn't get the pass away from him. Lawrence. Just knocks it back into Chilukwa Mullen. Leeds born centre half who qualifies through his dad from Glasgow. Molotnikov. His dad Justin, of course, a TV and film director. What will his son star in tonight? It's been a big win, but will it be 10-0 or 11-0? Or maybe more. Kyle Ure on the edge of the box. Finds Emilio Lawrence. Twists, turns, pulls it back. There is the 11th. And it's Miller Thompson who slides in for it. An assist to add to the 4 goals from Emilio Lawrence. Lovely footwork from the Man City youngster. And it was Thompson on the slide. They were queuing up in the middle for Scotland. They make it 11-0. That record now well in the rear view mirror. That's just brilliant from Lawrence, isn't it?
Yep, and then just putting the ball in the area for one of your teammates to go and attack. Miller Thompson absolutely does, slots away. I said really crisp round the edge of the box, and that bit of individuality there.
Scotland have not let up. They had their neck. That's where they had their foot on the throat of the Gibraltars early on. That's another kick-off for Gibraltar.
Who's your man of the match so far?
I think I know who you're going to say, and it's no one who scored a hat-trick, I don't think.
It is interesting in terms of how you see the game, though. Obviously the guys naturally who score the goals and put the ball away, the hardest thing to do in football. But then you understand also the importance of having someone dictate play, set up attacks like Kyle Ure. Yeah, so many good performances.
Well, you've got a couple of minutes to make a decision on that, Scott, but there's certainly plenty of candidates. James Wilson obviously scored his hat-trick. All those goals coming from a few yards out, or that first one was of course a one-on-one from outside the box, but Goalkeeper made it a little bit easy for him. Emilio Lawrence, who has scored the 4, 2 of those being absolute screamers. He set up a couple as well. Kyle Ure might just edge it, so Scotland will have a decision to make there, I think. Looks like it will be another Scotland corner on the far side. 76 minutes on the clock. Again, it's worked short. I don't think the centre-halves have come up for a corner in a long time now. Emilio Lawrence again heads to the byline, crosses in looking for One. It could drop from Molotnikov, hits it straight at the goalkeeper. Decent chance for Scotland there. But straight down the throat of Harry Victor.
He does everything right, Rudy Molotnikov. Watches the ball, it's a good contact on it, just doesn't go either side of the goalkeeper. Scotland have just been relentless, absolutely relentless.
Cleel Harding up to Kyle Ure. Out to Celtic youth teammate Ben McPherson. David Watson doing the running down the line. Brilliant turn away from Carrington. Didn't quite have the touch as it's absolutely launched out of play. Carrington took a sore one there. It looked like David Watson maybe just fell on him. A tough one for the Gibraltar centre half, who's had a bruising night already. And Watson's across there to check on him.
It's a clearance of pure frustration as well, wasn't it? From his teammate. I said, such a long night for them. Just hope we don't be disheartened by this. Got Scotland on a night where they've just been so clinical. Intensity's been spot on. It sets them up for a fantastic tie, obviously, in Azerbaijan.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough game for them. Scott, a lot of travelling for them to do, but they've got a couple of days to kind of settle there. Have you ever had kind of a big trip like that, and how hard is it to kind of acclimatise once you're there?
Yeah, I've done Kazakhstan with Celtic. It was Astana we played at the time, and we actually stayed on UK time, so there wasn't much difference in terms of that. The sleep pattern, but it was a real difficult night, to be fair. We managed to come through the tie, but it was a long flight. So it's about rest and recovery. Obviously they all know that now, part of modern day football. We have all the tools at their disposal, food, all the things you hear about now. It's a real opportunity for them to go and really progress in this group, because obviously look at the 2 ties they've had previously. You would expect them to be the toughest ties in the group. Obviously Czechia, and then Portugal littered with some real talented players going for some big money. And even at that, there'd been goals that night that Scotland could have helped themselves with, and they went out and you can only beat what's in front of you tonight, but a real stellar performance in terms of mentality, intensity, quality, all the things you want to see in a team. And as I said, sets them up for a really exciting tie against Azerbaijan.
Yeah, well, unfortunately for any Gibraltar fans listening, it doesn't get much easier. They've got Portugal next. That is at home, at least. But as Scott says, a team littered with multi-million-pound talents. Pretty tough for the Gibraltars. As Carrington is back to his feet, his break in play hopefully about to come to an end. Should say Gibraltar senior squad were in action yesterday. They played New Caledonia, an away trip of 17,500 kilometres across 9 different time zones for the south, from the southwest Pacific to the Europa Point Stadium. It was 2-0 to New Caledonia as well.
That's amazing from you.
Just shows sometimes when you travel, you still get the result, as Gibraltar try and come clear. Rory Adams almost in the centre circle there. A role of sweeper keeper. Scotland go in search of a 12th. Molotnikov had made the run. Lawrence just holds on to the ball. Couple of step overs. Not quite showboating, but not a million miles away. And he just tires out the defender before crossing it low. And it just comes back to the Gibraltar defender. Lovely touch in the Gibraltar dugout there. As Cleel Harding prepares to take the throw. Watson with the ball in the centre circle. He's got Ryan One ahead of him, but he just goes back to Chilokwa Mullen. Lawrence to Thompson. Scotland just knocking the ball about, patiently waiting and probing, waiting for that gap to open up. Gibraltar with everyone behind the ball. It's been a hard night for them. Can they be resolute in this defensive set at least? Emilio Lawrence gets the shot away, it's deflected, it goes behind for a corner. I don't know if the goalkeeper got a touch to that, but the Gibraltar defenders doing just about enough to deny Lawrence what would have been a 5th goal of the evening. And again, that corner taken so short and so quickly. Ryan One just desperate for the ball to get into the middle as it comes across to Chaloka Mullen. Lovely touch. Molotnikov fires it to McPherson. Gets it back. Tries to stand up his man and wins the corner. The ball just coming off Gonzalez there. No surprise. Oh no, David Watson might go across and try and float this in. Although Kyle Ure has come across. Sense of anticipation around this one, as I think it is going to go into the box. Yeah, Watson curls it in. Chaloka Mullen, it's cleared, it comes back to him, and he thunders in the 12th. Sometimes it is better to go direct, Scott.
Yes, a fantastic delivery, and obviously Jeremiah Mullen getting the rebound off his first shot and finishes emphatically. In Scotland, this and everything just went so well for them tonight. It ricochets back off a defender. He absolutely lashes it home, doesn't he?
And I think the only way that could have gone better is if the first header had gone in, but it was seemingly well dealt with for a split second. Like I say, hit that just about as hard as he could. Almost ripped the net off, and Scotland have their 12th. I've definitely been on the end of a few 12-0s, I can tell you. It's not particularly fun.
What position did you play?
I was up top, so it was never my fault. Anyone in the Glasgow Caledonian second 11 can vouch for that as well. Abudi tries to slip it through to David Watson. It will be another corner, and it'll be interesting to see what Scotland do from this one.
I think Ryan One was the option there. He peeled off. I think that wee slide rule pass, he'd have been in and goal. Maybe they chose the other option. Goes for another corner kick. David Watson's going to put it right back in there.
David Watson, again, it just goes straight in, headed away, drops to Kyle Ure. He really wanted to hit that first time. He waits and almost curled it into the bottom corner. Mullen goes for it again, and Victor able to gather. Kyle Ure showing real self-restraint there to stop himself hitting that first time.
Yeah, I think you could see the spin in the ball. I could see it from here, the way it was spinning. He probably just chose against it, hitting it first time. Tries to obviously shape it in the far corner.
Free kick goes against Miller Thompson there. I was asked what position I played in the office just a couple of weeks back. False 9 was.
Come on.
That's what I gave. Well, I was a striker who didn't score any goals. That's about as false as it gets.
Did you run?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Headless chicken.
Maybe just didn't get the service.
Yeah, that's exactly it. As Miller Thompson brings it up the left-hand side. Just going for a little saunter down to that corner. And then turns on the gas, trying to get to the byline. Trying to squeeze it past the Gibraltar defence there. Didn't quite work as Bartolo gets a nice touch and turn of the ball. Can he play it? Just didn't get the timing, but finds Stevens instead. And Gibraltar trying to come forward here with Lucas Scanlon. The ball just behind Bartolo. It bounces off him. As Thompson just takes his time. David Watson wanted it on this near side. He was making the run. Instead it goes to the left. Molotnikov lays off to Ryan One, the Sheffield United striker. And I think you can see the pace has certainly gone out of this one, but can Scotland find a 13th? Chaloka Mullen just giving the ball away a little bit sloppy for the very, very first time in this game. A little bit of complacency creeping in from Scotland. And there is a ball on here. Chaloka Mullen has to defend. Scanlon, nice touch, trying to work it onto his left. That first touch had just taken him a little further to the right, a little further away from Chilukwa-Mullen. Might have had a shooting opportunity as Parody whips a dangerous looking cross in, and Thompson has to head behind. Scotland have to do some defending there.
Yeah, they would be really disappointed at this stage in the game and the dominance they've had if they were to concede a goal. Just don't want to switch off. It's a slack pass from Jeremiah Mullen. Gibraltar managed to work it to the edge of the box, couldn't quite get the shot away.
Yeah, just a few minutes remaining. Like you say, Scotland will be absolutely desperate to hold on to that clean sheet. Rory Adams would be furious if his defence let him down now. As Kyle Ure concedes the corner. And a chance here for Gibraltar to try and find the tiniest consolation goal. But a goal nonetheless. This side has only won 2 of their 43 official fixtures. Their win over North Macedonia in 2017, the first in any competitive age group for Gibraltar.
Good head up.
It's a decent header from Chilukwa-Mullen to get the ball away, but the chance still on. Scotland have to defend. It's scrappy, but it works, and now they're on the counter and they're flying forward. Ryan One is on his bike. Molotnikov instead gives it to the right to Watson. The defender came with Watson. Instead he pulls it all the way across to Miller-Thompson. Lawrence on the wrapper, and Thompson goes for goal and lashes it over the bar. And Ryan One and Dira Mabude cut frustrated figures in the middle. They were desperate for that ball just a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I tell you one thing, Ryan One can shift. He travelled about 80 yards there at extreme pace, and I think he's just waiting for the slip pass. Like, again, decides against him. You can see in his body language he's absolutely fuming with that one. Well, obviously busting a gut to get in the box and try and get a goal.
Yeah, he'll be having to do his sprints after the game. That was from end to end there for Ryan One, and like you say, Scott, he covered that ground pretty quickly as well.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Kyle Ure with the header. One using his body really well there, but just crowded out. Scotland just taking their foot off the gas in the dying stages of this one. Mabude though, forward away from his defender, cuts it low across the box.
Got a gamble.
One's not there at the back post. It was a brilliant ball from Mabude as well. Gave One every chance, and it's Gibraltar coming forward. Chilukwa-Mullen barged off the ball by Bartolo, the keeper in no man's land. And Scotland get away with that one. Rory Adams coming out to play right back there. Chilukwa-Mullen did just enough to deny Bartolo. And the combination of the defender and the goalkeeper takes the ball off the toes of Bartolo. Almost a goal for Gibraltar right at the end. Scotland though, into the Gibraltar box. Lovely footwork from Molotnikov, but he just lost it at the last second before he could get the ball away. Kevin Gonzalez with it. Scotland, the chance still on here. Kyle Ure foraging for it. Comes to Mabude on the left now. Scotland just able to change that pace, the flick of a switch, and that's been what's really killed Gibraltar off here. Watson goes from distance, it bounces, and it's just wide. It looked like a messy connection, but it almost worked for David Watson.
Yeah, it took a bit of dip there since it was arriving in the penalty area. It just flashes by the post.
Well, it will be a record win this for Scotland. And we will pick our man of the match very shortly. There's plenty of contenders. Scott Allen, who do you think it's going to be?
Yeah, I think for me, I look at Mabude. He's had a real influence in the game. Really creative in that final third. Amount of time just hit the byline and lifted his head and tried to pick out a teammate. You obviously look at Emilio Lawrence's impact in the game with 4 goals, outstanding. You see the same about James Wilson in the first half. But for me, Kyle Ure's been the absolute heart of the game for me. He's been about everything good about this Scotland performance. Moving the ball really quick. It was a real, for me, that is a high level performance. Take it, doesn't matter who you were playing, how quickly he's moved the ball. He's been at the heart of everything from minute one. Playing forward, different types of passes, really creative in terms of trying to find a forward runner. So for me, Kyle Ure, outstanding.
Oh, Emilio Lawrence must be thinking, what else do I have to do there? But Kyle Ure has been fantastic, and we'll be tracking his progression at Ayr United this season, and potentially at Celtic after that, with a keen eye. Hopefully we'll see that some Friday night football as well. But he has been the star of the show on a star-studded night for Scotland. A historic night for the Under-21s as well, the biggest win in their history. And it's been thoroughly deserved. They have been first class from the first whistle. As Molotnikov picks the ball up and gets it back from Europe. Is there time for what would be a lucky 13th for Scotland? Watson trying to flick it round the corner. It's won back by Thompson. Kyle Ure shifts it out to the right. So quick to get his head up in that situation, and McPherson wins the corner. There's 3 minutes of added time to be played, so about 90 seconds left. And hopefully, like we say, the full A side will have just as positive a night at Hampden against Greece in World Cup qualifying as Mabude chips it for Ure, plays the 1-2 with McPherson. That's lovely. Squares it to Molotnikov onto the left foot, tries the shot, it's headed behind. It was goal bound, Molotnikov. I thought he might try and curl for the far corner, instead he went for the near post. It was a desperate header behind. I think that was Kevin Gonzalez again, who's been pretty heroic at times. I know the scoreline doesn't necessarily reflect that, but it could have been even worse if not for him. Ure tries to slip it round for Molotnikov. Doesn't have the accuracy this time, and instead it's Gibraltar coming away. Through Bartolo, the Chesham United man. Lawrence tries to cut out. Gibraltar still with the ball though, through Lee Cipollina. Is there a foul there? Yes, there is. Will there be time for this free kick? That's the question. Johan Hendrik Alfsson willing to give Gibraltar this final set piece. Well, I think they might want the full-time whistle just a little more. They try and play it down the line, trying to catch Scotland cold. And that's the final action in what's proven to be a historic night at Dens Park for the Scotland Under-21s. 12-0, their record victory in any competitive fixture. They have absolutely battered Gibraltar. It's been a tough night for the visitors, fair play to them, but Scotland were on it from the very first kick of the ball. Kyle Ure got himself on the score sheet. He was our player of the match, but that match ball will have to be shared by James Wilson and Emilio Lawrence, both of them scoring well. Wilson scoring 3, Lawrence scoring 4. Goals as well for Diri Mabude, as well as Miller Thompson and Jeremiah Chalukwa Mullen. Number 17 there, Kyle Ure. Scott, how impressed were you with him?
Yeah, just for me it was a midfield masterclass in terms of just doing the fundamentals of football very efficiently, really crisp with his passing, looking to play forward. He was just at the heart of everything good from Scotland. Yes, we have that real creativity in the final third, but you don't get there without a player like that in the midfield who's constantly looking to play forward, play the threaded passes that we've seen constantly available for the ball. So as much as the easy thing is to give the guys who score the goals the ball, he was, for me, it was an absolute masterclass from Kyle Ure in midfield.
And I can see James Wilson with the ball tucked under his arm there. I'm looking to see where Emilio Lawrence is. It looks like he's taken off. Oh no, he's got a ball as well, so maybe they'll share one. A lovely sight for the Scotland youngsters. They've got a big trip coming up, Azerbaijan on Tuesday. Like I say, that's at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock kickoff away in Baku at the Live Bonadia Arena, as James Wilson and Emilio Lawrence get their photos taken with their match balls. Superb performances from them and the rest of the Scotland 11. So full time here at Dens Park in this UEFA Under-21 European Championship qualifying match. Scotland get their first win, and a huge win at that. It finishes Scotland 12, Gibraltar 0.